Imagine a landscape so vast that it stretches across an entire continent, a place so arid that rainfall occurs only once every few years, and in some places, it has not rained in living memory. A place where temperatures soar to levels that seem to defy human tolerance, where the sun blazes relentlessly day after day, a place where water, the most fundamental necessity for life, is so scarce that it defines every aspect of existence. This is the Sahara. The Sahara is the world's largest hot desert, covering approximately 9 million square kilometers across North Africa. It stretches from the Atlantic Ocean in the west to the Red Sea in the east, spanning across 10 countries including Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Sudan, and others. The desert is so vast that it covers an area larger than the United States. It is one of Earth's most extreme environments, a landscape that seems utterly hostile to life. Yet people do live in the Sahara. For thousands of years, humans have inhabited this desert. They have developed remarkable knowledge and culture perfectly adapted to extreme aridity. They have created trade routes that cross the desert, connecting Africa to the Mediterranean and the Middle East. They have built settlements that persist despite the harsh conditions. How do people survive in such an extreme environment? How do they find water where almost none exists? How have they adapted to temperatures that can exceed 50 degrees Celsius? How have entire civilizations developed and persisted in a landscape that seems utterly inhospitable to human life? The answers to these questions reveal one of humanity's greatest achievements: the ability to adapt to nearly any environment through knowledge, skill, and cultural adaptation. The people of the Sahara have learned to read the landscape, to find hidden water sources, to navigate vast distances using stars and landmarks, to use camels and other animals perfectly adapted to desert conditions, and to develop social structures and trade systems that allow them to thrive despite the extreme conditions. The Sahara is not uniformly desert. It contains mountains, plateaus, scattered oases where water bubbles from underground aquifers, and vast salt flats. It has diverse ecosystems, though all adapted to extreme aridity. The landscape, while appearing monotonous to the casual observer, contains remarkable diversity and complexity. Life in the Sahara requires constant engagement with water scarcity. Every drop is precious. Survival depends on knowing where water can be found and on using it efficiently. The entire culture, economy, and way of life of Saharan peoples revolves around the central fact of water scarcity. So if you have a moment, stay with us as we explore the Sahara, the world's largest desert where people have learned to thrive, despite the most extreme aridity, as we journey through a landscape that seems utterly inhospitable, yet supports human communities, as we discover the knowledge, adaptations, and resilience that allow people to live and even flourish where almost no water exists, as we witness one of humanity's greatest achievements, the ability to adapt to the harshest environments on Earth. To understand how people live in the Sahara, you must first understand the desert itself, its geography, geology, and the extreme conditions that define it. The Sahara is not a uniform sea of sand. While sandy deserts, called erg, cover approximately 30% of the total area, the Sahara contains diverse landscape types. Rocky plateaus, called hamada, cover much of the landscape. Gravel plains, called reg, are common. Mountains including the Hogar and Tibesti. Ranges reach elevations exceeding 3,000 meters. Vast salt flats and basins dot the landscape. The diversity of Saharan geography is greater than many assume. The sand dunes that come to mind when imagining the Sahara do exist, but they are not universal. Where they do exist, they can be massive. Some dune fields contain dunes exceeding 300 meters in height. These dunes are shaped by wind, creating distinctive patterns and forms. Traveling through extensive sand dune fields presents particular challenges and rewards. The rocky plateaus, hamada, are often easier to traverse than sand dunes. The hard surface allows relatively easy walking and vehicle travel. However, the rocks are sharp and can cut through skin and vehicle tires. The complete lack of shade makes travel across hamada extremely challenging in intense heat. The barren landscape offers no protection from the elements. The gravel plains, reg, are more monotonous than other landscape types. They stretch endlessly in nearly flat expanses, offering few landmarks. Navigation across reg can be challenging because there are few distinctive features. The gravel shifts underfoot, making walking tiring. The uniformity can be psychologically challenging during extended travel. Mountains in the Sahara, including the Hogar and Tibesti ranges, provide dramatic relief. These mountains reach significant elevations and can receive occasional precipitation, supporting more vegetation than surrounding desert. The mountains also contain some permanent water sources, making them crucial for Saharan peoples. The mountains are often sacred places in local cultures. The climate of the Sahara is characterized by extreme heat and extreme aridity. Temperature variations are also extreme. Daytime temperatures regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius, sometimes reaching 50 degrees or higher. Nighttime temperatures can be surprisingly cold, dropping to near freezing or below, particularly in winter months. This extreme daily temperature variation affects both people and equipment. Aridity is the defining characteristic. Most of the Sahara receives less than 100 millimeters of precipitation annually. Some areas receive less than 10 millimeters. Some locations may not receive measurable precipitation for years. The complete absence of regular rainfall means that plants must have adaptations to survive on minimal water, and human settlements depend on finding water from other sources. The heat is relentless. Daytime temperatures are often unbearable for activity during the middle of the day. People must plan activities for cooler morning and evening hours or travel at night to avoid the worst heat. The intensity of solar radiation is extreme. Exposed skin can burn in minutes. Dehydration is a constant threat. The body loses water through perspiration, and the arid air causes rapid evaporation, creating dehydration even when people are trying to drink adequate water. Wind is another significant feature of the Sahara. Harmattan winds blow from the north, bringing dry air. Sandstorms occur when winds are strong enough to raise sand and dust, creating hazardous visibility and abrasive conditions. Khamsin winds blow from the south, sometimes bringing extremely hot, dry air. The wind can be useful for travel. Sand dunes that are bare of tracks on windward sides accumulate on leeward sides, creating drifts that mark wind patterns. But wind can also be dangerous and uncomfortable. The geology of the Sahara reflects its long history. Beneath the sand and rocks lies bedrock composed of granite and other rocks that are ancient. Vast aquifers underlie parts of the Sahara, containing water from past wet periods. These aquifers, though slowly replenishing, contain the water that Saharan peoples depend upon. The depth of these aquifers varies. Some are at accessible depths, others require very deep wells. Water is the central fact of life in the Sahara. Understanding water in the desert, where it is found, how it is accessed, and how it is used, is essential to understanding how people thrive in such extreme conditions. The Sahara receives almost no rainfall. The atmospheric conditions that produce precipitation are absent most of the time. High-pressure systems prevent cloud formation over much of the desert. The little precipitation that does fall is sporadic and concentrated in a few areas. Most of the Sahara can go years without receiving measurable rain. The water that Saharan peoples depend upon comes primarily from underground sources. Aquifers beneath the desert contain water that accumulated during wetter periods in the past. These fossil aquifers are the primary water source for most desert settlements. The depth of aquifers varies from a few meters to several hundred meters. Traditional wells can reach depths of 50 to 100 meters or more. Oases are areas where groundwater is close enough to the surface that it can be accessed relatively easily. Wells dug at oases often flow naturally due to artesian pressure. The water supports vegetation including date palms, tamarisks, and other drought-resistant plants. Oases are islands of life in the desert, and human settlements often cluster around them. The most famous oases include Siwa in Egypt, a remote oasis with its own distinctive culture. Timbuktu, though not an oasis in the strict sense, relies on proximity to the Niger River. The Saharan oases vary in size from tiny settlements with a single well to larger communities with extensive agricultural systems. Water from oases is precious. It is used for drinking, for watering animals, and for irrigation of crops. The amount of water available from an oasis is limited and finite. The use of water must be carefully managed to ensure sustainability. Oases have complex systems for managing water distribution, often involving sharing arrangements and traditional laws governing water rights. Fog harvesting has been used in some areas to collect moisture from the air. Dew collection in the early morning provides small amounts of water. These sources are minor compared to underground water, but can provide supplementary water in some locations. The depth and extent of aquifers limit the population that the Sahara can support. Areas with accessible water can support larger populations. Areas where water must be brought from considerable distances can support only small populations. The distribution of water largely determines settlement patterns. The salinity of water is important. Some aquifers contain fresh water, while others contain brackish or saline water. Drinking saline water can cause dehydration and illness. Animals may refuse saline water. The quality of water affects its usefulness. Fresh water is most valuable and is used for drinking, while saltier water may be used for watering animals. Water management is crucial for long-term sustainability. Overuse of aquifers can cause them to be depleted or abandoned. Some settlements have faced water crises when their primary water sources became depleted. Modern drilling technology has allowed access to deeper aquifers, but also increases the risk of overuse and depletion. The value of water is reflected in culture and economy. Water rights are carefully regulated. Water is shared according to traditional customs and laws. In some places, water is traded. The control of water sources provides power and status. Wars have been fought over water rights. The scarcity of water shapes social relationships and economic structures. For travelers crossing the Sahara, finding water is the primary concern. Camels, which are the primary transport animals, can survive longer without water than humans. A journey across the Sahara requires knowing where water sources are located. Maps indicating water sources are essential. The knowledge of where to find water is often passed down through generations of guides and merchants. The Sahara is home to diverse peoples, each with distinct languages, cultures, and ways of life. Despite the extreme conditions, these peoples have built societies, economies, and rich cultural traditions. The largest Saharan population group is Arab peoples, who speak Arabic and Islam. Sunni is the dominant religion. Arab settlement of the Sahara expanded after the Islamic conquest of North Africa, beginning in the 7th century. Arab cultures and languages became dominant over indigenous Berber populations in many areas, though Berber peoples and languages persisted in some regions. Berber peoples are indigenous to North Africa and the Sahara. They have lived in the region for thousands of years before Arab arrival. Berber languages and cultures, while affected by Arab influence, continue to exist. Berber peoples include groups like the Tuareg in the central Sahara and smaller Berber communities in various locations. The Tuareg are a nomadic Berber people known for their distinctive blue indigo clothing and their role as traders and warriors. The Tuareg traditionally controlled trans-Saharan trade routes and maintained pastoral systems based on camel herding. Tuareg society has a complex structure including nobles, artisans, and others. Women in Tuareg society have significant status and property rights. Unusual in many Islamic societies, sub-Saharan African peoples have various connections to the Sahara. Some are settled along the southern margins of the desert. Some trade across the desert. During the medieval period, powerful empires like Mali and Songhai controlled territory south of the Sahara and participated in trans-Saharan trade. The populations of the Sahara have adapted to extreme conditions through knowledge and cultural practices developed over thousands of years. They understand the desert, how to find water, how to navigate, how to survive extreme heat. They have developed trade systems that benefit from connections across the desert. They have created artistic and literary traditions that reflect their desert life. Islam is the dominant religion throughout the Sahara. Islamic practices and beliefs influence daily life, social structures, and culture. However, pre-Islamic beliefs and practices persisted in some areas. Blended with Islamic traditions, Islamic law, Sharia, provides a legal framework in many areas. Languages of the Sahara reflect the region's history. Arabic is dominant, but various dialects differ from Classical Arabic. Berber languages including Tamazight and other dialects are spoken by Berber peoples. Sub-Saharan languages are spoken in the southern Sahara. French is spoken in former French colonies. Multilingualism is common among Saharan peoples. Family and tribal structures are important in Saharan societies. Extended families and tribal groups provide social and economic organization. These structures help people cope with the challenges of desert life through mutual support and cooperation. Hospitality is a valued cultural practice, important for travelers crossing the desert. The traditional economies of Saharan peoples were based on pastoralism, herding, trade, and agriculture in oases. Pastoralists raised camels, goats, and sheep. Trade networks connected the Sahara to North Africa, the Mediterranean, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Oases supported agricultural communities. These traditional economic systems continue to be important, though modernization has affected them. How do people survive in the Sahara? The answer lies in remarkable adaptations, physical, cultural, and technological, that allow humans to thrive in extreme conditions. Clothing adaptations are fundamental. The traditional clothing worn by Saharan peoples, loose, flowing garments that cover the body, provides protection from the sun while allowing air circulation. Light colors reflect heat. Head coverings protect from sun and sand. The design of traditional clothing is perfectly adapted to desert conditions, and modern clothing has largely not improved upon it. The indigo-dyed robes of the Tuareg, while traditionally made for identification and status, also provide excellent protection. The loose fit allows air circulation. The long sleeves protect from sun. The head covering protects the face. Modern observers sometimes underestimate how effective traditional clothing is for desert protection. The body adapts to extreme heat and water scarcity. Repeated exposure to heat stress causes physiological adaptations. The body becomes more efficient at conserving water and managing heat stress. Sweating patterns change. The threshold for discomfort increases. These adaptations mean that people born and raised in the Sahara can tolerate conditions that newcomers find unbearable. Dehydration is a constant threat. The body loses water rapidly in the extreme heat and aridity. However, Saharan peoples have learned to minimize water loss through various behaviors. Activity is planned for cooler times of day. Movement during extreme heat is minimized. Resting in shade during the hottest hours reduces water loss. The pace of activity is adjusted to conserve energy and water. Food consumption affects hydration status. High-protein foods require more water for digestion. Saharan diets, while varying by location, often emphasize foods that are easier on water budget. Grains, dates, low-water foods. Dates in particular are important. They provide calories and some water while being easy to store and transport. Navigation in the Sahara requires knowledge and skill. Landmarks are few in some areas. Dunes are constantly shifting. Without modern GPS, navigation depends on knowledge of star positions, recognition of subtle landscape features, and experience. Traditional guides possess deep knowledge of routes, water sources, and landmarks. This knowledge has been passed down through generations and is crucial for safe travel. Camels are essential for survival and transport in the Sahara. These animals are remarkably adapted to desert conditions. They can travel long distances with minimal water. They convert vegetation that humans cannot eat into a form humans can use, meat and milk. They provide transportation, carrying goods and people. A camel can be ridden, or caravans of camels can carry large quantities of goods. The adaptations of camels include the ability to store water reserves in body tissues, the ability to tolerate large temperature variations, the ability to find vegetation in sparse areas, and the development of thick pads on their feet that allow them to traverse hot sand. Most importantly for Saharan life, camels can survive weeks without water, making them invaluable for desert travel. Camels produce milk that is nutritious and relatively hydrating. Camel milk was historically a primary food source for pastoral peoples. Camel meat provides protein. Hides provide material for shelter and clothing. Camels are so integral to Saharan life that they are central to culture and economy. Many Saharan peoples measure wealth in camels. Building design reflects desert adaptation. Traditional settlements use thick mud or stone walls that provide insulation against extreme heat. Thick walls keep interiors cool during the day and warm at night. Openings are small to minimize heat gain. Flat roofs or domed ceilings reflect additional heat considerations. The design of buildings minimizes cooling and heating needs, essential when no mechanical systems are available. Social organization and cooperation are crucial adaptations. Communities work together to maintain water sources, to organize trade, to provide mutual support during crises. Sharing of resources, particularly water, is essential. The social structures that have developed in the Sahara reflect the need for cooperation in extreme conditions. Oases are the centers of settled life in the Sahara. These islands of vegetation and water support agriculture, permanent settlement, and trade. Understanding oases is crucial to understanding how people live in the desert. An oasis forms where groundwater rises close enough to the surface to be accessed by wells or springs. The water supports vegetation, including date palms, which are the foundation of oasis agriculture. The date palms provide food, shade, and material for building. Under the shade of date palms, other crops, including vegetables and fruits, can be grown. Oases vary dramatically in size. Some are tiny, a single well with a few date palms, supporting a few families. Others are substantial communities with thousands of residents, extensive date palm groves, and diverse agriculture. The largest oases are small cities in their own right. Siwa Oasis in western Egypt is one of the most remote and distinctive. The oasis is located approximately 300 kilometers from the nearest town. It contains several thousand residents who maintain a distinctive culture and language. The oasis was historically an important caravan stop and oracle site. Today, it attracts tourists interested in remote oases and traditional culture. The geography of oases often determines their characteristics. Some oases are in depressions where water pressure naturally brings water to the surface, artesian wells. These oases may have flowing water without pumping. Other oases require wells to be dug to reach groundwater. The depth to water determines how much energy is required to access it. The agriculture of oases is intensive. Every bit of available water is used. Date palm cultivation is primary, but vegetables, fruits, and grains are also grown. The shade of date palms allows cultivation of more sun-sensitive crops. Irrigation systems are sophisticated, often with channels carrying water to fields. Water conservation is a constant concern. The layout of oases reflects cultural and practical considerations. Villages often cluster around the main water source. Houses are built closely together, sometimes in fortified compounds for security. The settlement pattern maximizes shade and creates microclimates that are cooler than the surrounding desert. The economy of oases is based on agriculture, trade, and services to travelers. Dates are a major product, exported or traded to other regions. Other crops provide food for local consumption and sometimes for sale. Craft production, including weaving and pottery, is common. Trade has historically been important. Oases were stopping points on trans-Saharan trade routes, and merchants traded goods. Water management in oases is complex. Rights to water are carefully regulated, often according to traditional laws developed over centuries. The amount of water available to each farmer is determined by shares or time allocations. The maintenance of irrigation systems is a community responsibility. These systems have allowed oases to sustain populations for centuries. Population pressure on oases can be problematic. As populations grow, the demand for water increases. If more water is extracted than is replenished by the aquifer, the water level falls and the oasis becomes less viable. Some oases have experienced water crises when groundwater has been depleted. Modern technology, including deep drilling, can temporarily increase water availability but risks accelerating depletion. The social structure of oases reflects the importance of water. Those who control water sources have power and prestige. Complex systems of rights and obligations govern resource sharing. These social structures have evolved to manage scarcity and prevent conflict. Migration from rural oases to towns and cities is occurring. Young people, particularly, move to urban areas seeking employment and educational opportunities. This migration threatens the viability of some smaller oases. The preservation of oases as living communities faces challenges from modernization and changing economic opportunities. For thousands of years, the Sahara has been crossed by traders. Trans-Saharan trade connected Africa to the Mediterranean world, the Middle East, and beyond. This trade was fundamental to the development of Saharan societies and continues in modified form. The earliest trans-Saharan trade likely involved incense, gold, and other goods. By the medieval period, trade had become extensive and organized. Gold from West African kingdoms flowed north. Salt from Saharan salt mines was valued in sub-Saharan regions where it was scarce. Other goods, including spices, cloth, and luxury items, moved across the desert. The development of the camel for trade made extensive trans-Saharan commerce possible. Before camels were widely used, the Sahara was a difficult barrier. Camels, with their ability to travel long distances with minimal water, made regular trade routes feasible. Caravans of hundreds or thousands of camels carried goods across the desert. Trade routes crossed the Sahara at various points. The westernmost routes crossed from Morocco to Mali and other West African kingdoms. Central routes went from Tunisia and Algeria to Mali and Niger. Eastern routes connected Egypt and the Red Sea region to sub-Saharan Africa. These routes formed networks, with some more important than others, depending on demand and safety. Timbuktu, located on the Niger River at the edge of the Sahara, became one of the most famous trade centers. The city was the capital of powerful kingdoms and was a center of Islamic learning. The wealth of Timbuktu came from gold and salt trade. The city attracted merchants, scholars, and religious teachers. At its height, Timbuktu was one of the wealthiest and most important cities in Africa. The goods traded across the Sahara reflect regional products and demands. Gold from West Africa was highly valued in North Africa and Europe. Salt from Saharan mines was essential to preserve food in sub-Saharan regions. Kola nuts from the forest regions were traded north. Spices, cloth, horses, and other luxury goods moved along the routes. Enslaved people were also traded, a trade that expanded over time and had devastating consequences. The merchants who conducted trade were often Berber and Arab peoples who had the knowledge and connections to operate across the desert. The Tuareg, with their control of the Central Sahara, played a significant role in facilitating trade. Jewish merchants, members of various Islamic ethnic groups, and others participated in the trade network. The organization of trade caravans was sophisticated. Caravans included numerous camels, merchants, guards, and support personnel. The organization required careful planning to ensure adequate water was available at stopping points. Routes were established to connect water sources. Guides with knowledge of routes were essential. The size of caravans provided security against bandits. The towns that developed along trade routes became wealthy and powerful. These towns served as markets where goods were bought and sold, as places where merchants rested, and as gathering points for caravans. The architecture of these towns, the goods available, and the diversity of peoples created cosmopolitan centers in the midst of the desert. The decline of trans-Saharan trade affected Saharan societies. The shift of trade routes following European colonization and the development of sea routes reduced the importance of Saharan trade. The development of modern transportation reduced the importance of caravan trade. The decline of this trade led to economic depression in many Saharan communities. However, trans-Saharan trade has not completely disappeared. Salt is still mined and traded. Limited goods still move across the desert. Modern vehicles have replaced camels for some trade, though camels continue to be used in some remote areas. The legacy of trade remains visible in the architecture and culture of Saharan towns. Nomadic pastoralism, the herding of animals across the desert, was historically the dominant way of life for many Saharan peoples. While declining in importance, pastoralism continues and reflects important adaptations to desert life. Pastoral societies traditionally based their economy on herding camels, goats, sheep, and sometimes cattle. The animals provided milk, meat, hides, and hair. Pastoralists moved seasonally, following water and pasture. This mobility was essential given the scattered nature of both water and vegetation in the Sahara. The Tuareg are among the most famous pastoral groups. Traditionally, Tuareg society was organized into noble, religious, and artisan groups with some enslaved peoples. Herding provided the economic foundation. The Tuareg controlled trade routes and commanded tribute from merchants and others passing through their territory. They developed a distinctive culture and identity based on pastoral life and control of the Sahara. Pastoral movements follow seasonal patterns. In the wet season, brief though it is in most of the Sahara, pastoralists move to areas where vegetation grows. In the dry season, they return to areas with reliable water sources. These movements are carefully timed based on knowledge of where water and pasture are available at different times. The relationship between pastoralists and sedentary agriculturalists in oases is symbiotic. Pastoralists trade animal products for agricultural goods from oases. Pastoralists provide transportation and trading services. This relationship has been important for both groups. Wealth in pastoral societies is measured in animals. The number and quality of animals one owns determines status and wealth. Large herds provide security and status. However, drought can rapidly reduce herds, causing economic crisis. Pastoralists have developed various strategies to manage risk, including maintaining diverse animals and spreading herds across different regions. Pastoral knowledge is extensive. Herders understand animal behavior, health, nutrition, and reproduction. They know where water and pasture are available at different times. They know how to navigate across the desert. This knowledge has been accumulated over generations and is essential for successful pastoralism. The social organization of pastoral groups includes complex family structures, property systems, and governance structures. Leadership typically comes from respected individuals. Decisions about herd movement and resource use are often made collectively or by recognized leaders. The social cohesion of pastoral groups is essential for managing shared resources. Pastoral life in the Sahara is increasingly challenged. Droughts have devastated herds, forcing pastoralists to sell or lose animals. Climate change is making pastoralism less viable in some areas. Government restrictions on grazing and cross-border movement have limited pastoral flexibility. Many young people are leaving pastoral life for urban employment. However, pastoralism continues and even shows signs of revival in some areas. Pastoral organizations work to preserve pastoral ways of life. Pastoral knowledge is being documented and valued. The cultural significance of pastoralism to Saharan identity ensures continued importance even as the practical necessity declines. The extreme heat of the Sahara creates challenges that affect every aspect of human life. Understanding how people cope physiologically and behaviorally with extreme heat is important to understanding life in the desert. The human body has several mechanisms for cooling itself. The primary cooling mechanism is sweating, perspiration that evaporates from the skin, carrying heat away from the body. However, in the arid Sahara, the low humidity means that sweat evaporates very rapidly, sometimes before it even appears on the skin. This rapid evaporation allows more efficient cooling, but can lead to dehydration. The extreme heat of the Sahara can quickly become dangerous. Heat stroke occurs when the body's temperature rises to dangerous levels. Core body temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius can cause organ damage. Heat exhaustion, characterized by weakness and dizziness, can precede heat stroke. Prolonged exposure to extreme heat can be fatal without adequate water and rest. Acclimatization to heat reduces the challenge. People who have grown up in the Sahara have physiological adaptations that allow them to tolerate higher temperatures than people from cooler regions. Their sweating response is more efficient. Their cardiovascular system is adapted. Their behavior is conditioned to work with rather than against the heat. Newcomers to the Sahara must acclimate to the heat gradually. Acclimatization typically takes 1 to 2 weeks, during which people feel increasingly comfortable at temperatures that initially felt unbearable. The ability to acclimate is important for people from cooler regions who move to the Sahara or who work there temporarily. Behavioral adaptations are crucial for managing heat. People plan activities for cooler times of day, early morning and evening. The hottest middle of the day is avoided for strenuous activity. Resting in shade during the hottest hours reduces heat stress. Sleeping is often done during the coolest parts of the night or during the day when possible. The daily schedule is adjusted to the heat. Clothing choices are critical. Light-colored, loose-fitting clothing that covers the body provides protection from sun while allowing air circulation. Dark colors absorb heat and are avoided. The traditional blue indigo clothing of the Tuareg, while dark, has many advantages. It reflects some infrared radiation, provides excellent protection from sun, and has cultural significance. The loose fit allows air circulation and sweat evaporation. Head covering is essential. The sun's radiation is intense, and the head is particularly vulnerable. Head coverings protect the head, face, neck, and ears from sun. The face covering of the Tuareg, Tagelmust, provides cultural identity while providing excellent sun protection. Hydration is the critical issue. Water loss in the Sahara heat can be enormous. A person working in the heat can lose several liters of water per day through sweat. This water loss must be replaced to avoid dehydration. However, drinking adequate water is often not possible due to water scarcity. The balance between water availability and water needs creates a constant challenge. The color of skin affects sun sensitivity. People with dark skin have more melanin, which provides protection against UV radiation. People with light skin are more vulnerable to sunburn. However, all people in the Sahara protect their skin from sun exposure because the radiation is intense enough to cause harm to everyone. The relationship between heat and mental function is important. Extreme heat affects cognition, attention, and decision-making. Heat stress can lead to poor judgment, which can be dangerous in the Sahara, where mistakes can be life-threatening. The management of mental function in extreme heat is an important survival skill. Water scarcity is not just a practical challenge in the Sahara. It is a fundamental fact that shapes culture, economy, and society. Understanding how people live with water shortage is central to understanding the Sahara. The average Saharan receives little to no rain. Many areas receive rain only once every few years, or less frequently. Some areas have not received measurable precipitation in decades. The probability of rain is so low that most people cannot depend on rainfall for their water needs. Instead, they depend on underground water accessed through wells. Well water is precious. Wells are maintained with care. The depth to water determines how difficult and expensive wells are to dig and maintain. Shallow wells are preferable because they are easier to dig and maintain, but water levels may fluctuate seasonally. Deep wells reach more stable water but require more effort to access. Traditional well technology includes hand-dug wells and animal-powered pumps. A traditional well might be just a hole dug in the ground with a rope and bucket for retrieving water. More sophisticated systems include pulleys and animal-powered pumps that raise water from depths. Modern solar-powered pumps are increasingly used, reducing the effort required to retrieve water. The quality of well water varies. Some wells produce fresh water suitable for drinking and agriculture. Others produce brackish or saline water. The salinity affects how water can be used. Saline water might be suitable for watering animals, but not for drinking. Very saline water is suitable for nothing. Finding fresh water is not guaranteed. Water rights are carefully regulated in communities. Shares of water are allocated to individuals or families based on traditional systems. These allocations have been developed over centuries to manage scarce resources. Violations of water rights are serious matters that can result in severe punishment. The importance of water is reflected in the seriousness with which water rights are treated. Water conservation is essential. Every drop is valuable. Water is used efficiently for drinking, for cooking, and for watering animals. Water for irrigation is used sparingly. No water is wasted. The conservation of water is not a choice but a necessity. The daily water use of a Saharan person is typically much less than that of a person in a well-watered region. People manage with a few liters per day for drinking, cooking, and basic hygiene. This is far less than the water use in regions where water is abundant. Water storage is important. Large cisterns or underground tanks store water for dry periods. During times when water is available, it is stored for use during dry periods. The management of stored water prevents shortages when wells run dry or water delivery is interrupted. The social stress of water scarcity is significant. Competition for limited water can create conflict. Water-related conflicts have occurred throughout Saharan history. The equitable distribution of water is a key concern of community governance. The failure to manage water resources can lead to social breakdown. The spiritual significance of water is reflected in religion and culture. Islam, the dominant religion, includes ritual washing with water as part of religious practice. The scarcity of water means that these practices must be adapted. Water is respected as a gift from God. The conservation and fair distribution of water are moral imperatives. Climate change threatens water availability. Changing rainfall patterns and temperatures affect groundwater. In some areas, aquifers that have been stable are beginning to decline. The sustainability of water sources is increasingly questioned. The future availability of water is uncertain in some parts of the Sahara. The Sahara is changing due to modernization, climate change, and globalization. These changes create challenges and opportunities for Saharan peoples. Modernization has brought new technologies, including vehicles, powered equipment, and electricity. These technologies have changed some aspects of life, but have not eliminated the fundamental challenges of the desert. Vehicles replace camels for some transport, but they require fuel and maintenance. Powered equipment requires electricity, which is often not available in remote areas. Climate change is affecting the Sahara. Temperature is increasing, and precipitation patterns are changing. Some areas are becoming even drier. Droughts have affected pastoral peoples, forcing herd reductions. The changing climate threatens the viability of traditional livelihoods. The predictability of seasonal patterns that people have relied upon for generations is being disrupted. Groundwater is being depleted in some areas due to extraction exceeding recharge rates. Deep drilling allows access to ancient aquifers, but these aquifers recharge very slowly or not at all. The extraction of fossil water is not sustainable long-term. Some settlements have had to relocate when their water sources became depleted or uneconomical to access. Population growth is placing increasing pressure on resources. Growing populations in Saharan towns and settlements require more water and food. The carrying capacity of Saharan regions is being challenged. Migration to urban areas and to developed countries is occurring as people seek better opportunities and to escape resource constraints. Education and economic opportunities are changing cultural practices. Young people have different expectations than their parents. Formal education leads people away from traditional livelihoods. Urban opportunities attract migrants from rural areas. The traditional knowledge that has allowed survival in the Sahara for thousands of years is being lost as younger generations pursue different paths. Tourism is developing in some Saharan areas. Tourists come to experience the desert, to see historical sites, and to interact with Saharan peoples. Tourism provides economic opportunities, but also creates cultural challenges. The authentic Saharan experience that tourists seek is sometimes packaged in ways that transform it. The relationship between tourism and traditional culture is complex. Migration, including international migration, is significant. People leave the Sahara for North African cities, for Europe, or for other destinations. Economic desperation, climate change, and limited opportunities drive migration. This migration has demographic consequences for Saharan community. Governance and political instability affect some Saharan regions. Conflicts have disrupted trade and settled life in some areas. Terrorist organizations have operated in some Saharan regions, creating security concerns. The political situation varies significantly by location, but some areas face substantial challenges to peace and stability. Health challenges, including malaria, parasitic diseases, and malnutrition, affect Saharan populations. Healthcare access is limited in many areas. Vaccination coverage for preventable diseases is incomplete in some areas. Maternal and child mortality rates are higher than in developed countries. The improvement of health is an important development and challenge. The future of the Sahara is uncertain. The region faces challenges from climate change, resource depletion, and social change. Yet there are also opportunities for sustainable development and positive change. Climate change will continue to affect the Sahara. Temperature will increase, and precipitation patterns will be disrupted. Some models suggest that some areas may become even more arid. Others suggest that some areas might see increased rainfall. The uncertainty makes planning difficult. Adaptation to climate change is a central challenge. Water sustainability is a critical concern. The current use of groundwater in some areas exceeds sustainable rates. The depletion of aquifers would be catastrophic for settled populations. The development of sustainable water sources, including desalination powered by renewable energy, may be necessary. The rational management of water resources is essential for the future. Renewable energy has potential in the Sahara. The intense solar radiation is ideal for solar power generation. Some proposals suggest that large solar installations could generate electricity for the Sahara and potentially export electricity to North Africa and Europe. Renewable energy could reduce dependence on fossil fuels and provide the electricity needed to power pumps and other equipment. The preservation of Saharan cultures and traditional knowledge is important. The documentation of languages, oral histories, and cultural practices ensures that they are not lost. The revitalization of traditional knowledge in combination with modern science could provide innovative solutions to Saharan challenges. The respect for and preservation of Saharan cultures is important both for cultural reasons and for practical survival knowledge they contain. Economic diversification could reduce on sustainable resource extraction. Tourism, handicraft production, and other economic activities could provide income. The development of oasis agriculture adapted to climate change could sustain food production. The diversification of economic activities could make Saharan communities more resilient. Education is essential for the future. Education can improve health outcomes, reduce fertility rates, and provide skills for employment in diverse fields. Education that includes respect for traditional knowledge, while providing modern education, could create generations equipped to address Saharan challenges. Infrastructure development, including roads, electricity, and communication networks, could improve living standards and economic opportunities. However, infrastructure development must be managed carefully to avoid environmental damage and cultural disruption. Regional cooperation on water management could help address shared challenges. Some major water sources span multiple countries. The coordination of water use across borders is important for sustainable management. Cooperation on other issues, including climate adaptation and economic development, could benefit the region. Despite the extreme challenges, Saharan peoples have demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability. This resilience is one of the most impressive aspects of life in the Sahara. For thousands of years, people have lived in the Sahara, adapting to its challenges and thriving despite extreme conditions. The knowledge and skills required to survive have been accumulated and passed down through generations. This accumulated wisdom is reflected in everything from building design to water management to navigation. The flexibility and adaptability of Saharan peoples is notable. When conditions change, when drought affects herds, when trade routes shift, when political situations change, people adapt. They develop new strategies, new economic activities, new ways of organizing themselves. This adaptability has been essential for survival over long time periods marked by significant changes. Community cohesion and mutual support are central to Saharan resilience. People help each other, share resources, and work together to solve problems. The strong family and community ties provide support systems that help individuals and families cope with difficulties. This sense of community is stronger than might be expected in a harsh environment. The spiritual dimensions of Saharan culture provide meaning and hope. Islamic faith provides guidance and meaning. Traditional beliefs, while mixed with Islamic practice, connect people to the land and to their heritage. Spiritual beliefs help people make sense of their experiences and find meaning in challenging circumstances. The pride in Saharan identity and heritage is notable. People are proud of their distinctive cultures, their adaptations to the desert, their history as traders and warriors. This pride provides identity and self-respect despite external challenges and sometimes marginalization by outsiders. The creativity and artistic expression of Saharan peoples reflects resilience. Music, poetry, visual arts, and literature have been developed despite harsh conditions. These forms of expression reflect the beauty that people find in the Sahara and provide outlet for emotions and experiences. The preservation of language and cultural identity, despite pressures to assimilate, demonstrates commitment to heritage. Indigenous languages and cultural practices are maintained despite pressure from dominant Arab or European cultures. This commitment ensures cultural continuity and preservation of distinct ways of life. The Sahara is one of Earth's most extreme environments, yet people have lived there for thousands of years, adapting and thriving through knowledge, skill, and cultural adaptation. The story of the Sahara is a story of human resilience and the remarkable capacity of people to adapt to nearly any environment. The extreme conditions, the intense heat, the scarcity of water, the vast distances, the harsh landscape define the Sahara. Yet, these conditions have produced cultures and peoples of remarkable sophistication. The knowledge required to survive has elevated human adaptation to an art form. The cultures that have developed are distinctive and valued. Water scarcity is the central fact of Saharan life. Every aspect of existence revolves around finding, conserving, and managing the precious resource. The solutions that Saharan peoples have developed, deep wells, oases, aquifer management, trade networks, represent human ingenuity applied to extreme challenges. The future of the Sahara is uncertain. Climate change, resource depletion, and modernization all create challenges. Yet, the demonstrated resilience of Saharan peoples suggests that they will continue to adapt and find ways to live in their desert homeland. The knowledge accumulated over thousands of years, combined with modern technology and scientific understanding, may enable sustainable futures. The Sahara teaches important lessons. It demonstrates that humans can adapt to nearly any environment. It shows the importance of knowledge, cooperation, and respect for the natural world. It reveals that thriving is not merely about survival, but about developing meaningful cultures and lives even in harsh conditions. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Sahara, through its extreme landscape, its diverse peoples, and the remarkable adaptations that allow them to not merely survive, but thrive in the world's largest hot desert. If you found this exploration of life in the Sahara meaningful, please like this video and subscribe to True Globe for more journeys through the world's most extreme environments and the people who inhabit them. Share your thoughts in the comments. What aspect of Saharan life and adaptation most impressed you? The Sahara stands as testament to human adaptability and resilience. The people of the Sahara have learned to live with one of Earth's most fundamental challenges, the scarcity of water. Through knowledge, adaptation, and cultural values, they have created lives of meaning and dignity in extreme conditions. The Sahara reminds us that human beings are capable of extraordinary achievements. We can adapt to challenges that seem insurmountable. We can find meaning and beauty even in harsh circumstances. We can create cultures and communities that sustain both survival and dignity. The lessons of the Sahara are lessons for all of humanity. We'll see you on the next adventure.